Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is me, Duke CT, and it is time to Rampage. Yes, it is the next episode of Rampage, and wow, what a nice show. This show, Rampage, was better paced than the previous Dynamite, and I hopefully AEW will continue to have this better pacing throughout their shows, because that's one of the main issues is the lack of pacing. But honestly, this is probably one of the best ones, and honestly, you could say this is a one-match show, but there was all other things around it to make things a lot better. As we get into our first match, Pac versus Andrade El Idolo with Chavo Guerrero Jr. And let me tell you, this match was all out. This would have probably been lost in the shuffle, because this would have been would have made that show even great. That show was great on its own. This would have made that into the stratosphere. You understand? But that's just me. But man, they delivered here. Both men, great chemistry with each other. No wasted movement. Just go back and forth and back and forth, back and forth. Great stuff here. Andrade is just, he has been on fire ever since getting into AEW and leaving WWE. He's been great. Pac, great. He has been great as well, and just really good stuff here. I love the best move of the match is Andrade jumping over, hitting a DDT on the ramp, or just against Pac. My goodness, that was great. And Pac hitting all these great moves as well, including a nice 450 splash. Just both men had great. This was, to me, one of the best matches Rampage. This match right here beats Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega for the Impact Championship. This match was great. And honestly, this could, other than the Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks and such, I'm like, this would be my very close to saying match of the year. But I think the finish kind of hurt it, as you had Andrade's assistant having a stun gun. I'm like, why does he have a stun? Like, now I'm getting flashbacks to Nash and Goldberg and such. Scott Hall with the stun gun. But no, as the Lucha Brothers come in, drop down, kick, do a nice little super kick, take out the random stooge there, but travels free, hits Pac with the iPad, the impenetrable iPad, and Andrade picks up the victory and to continue his undefeated streak, defeating very, very well-known opponents. I want to see more of Andrade, as he is 3-0, but also 2-0 against top stars in AEW. And after the match, they were talking with Chavo and everything. Then Andrade knocks out Chavo Guerrero and leaves him to Death Triangle. So I don't know what this means, but it looks like Andrade might be looking for another manager. And it looks like he might be looking towards, a bit of a next manager might have a little bit of a woo factor, if you catch my drift. Anyway, next up, you had an interview segment with Bryan, Danielson, and Adam Cole. Adam Cole having some, coming in, saying his stuff there. I loved, the best part of it was Adam Cole saying that he loves the Elite and everything. He's ready to be here. He's happy to be with the Elite. And, saying there's no real drama or whatever. He's just happy. They're the best friends and everything. And then you have Bryan Danielson saying, he wants a shot at Kenny Omega. He's just called the Elite, so just very insecure. And he's trying to play games with Kenny Omega, saying, you're not on my level. So maybe we'll see something in New York, as I wouldn't be surprised seeing Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega for AEW World Title. So I would not be surprised if that will happen in his debut. Bryan trolling Kenny, get that match with him. Next, you had an interview segment with Sting and Darby talking about the comments that Tully Blanchard made the previous Dynamite, saying that, talking about Shawn Spears or whatever, talking tell Tully Blanchard basically walk behind or that sort of stuff with Sting on the mic, and then Tully talking, distracting Sting with a little bit of stuff, and then bam, Shawn Spears comes in with a nice Death Valley driver, lays out Darby, and just bolts out. So gets a little bit of heat in their match. So I can't wait to see that on next week's Dynamite. Then we get to the trios match. Who wins trios match is the Britt Baker's gang, the Baker gang, which I'm gonna call it. You have Rebel, Jamie Hayter, with Britt Baker, DMD, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the AEW Women's Champion, taking on the number one contender, Ruby Soho, versus Riho, versus Kris Statlander. This was a pretty decent trios match. Riho showed some good stuff. Kris Statlander showing that she is, just this heavy hitter from another world. Ruby Soho looking pretty good. Overall, I am, I can't wait to see it, and I bet this happens in New York. Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker. I think this match will be a very interesting one, as Ruby Soho picks up the victory and takes down Rebel. So, Rebel taking the L once again. But hopefully, Baker gangs, the Britt Baker gang, the BBC, as I like to call them, will have a nice rebound maybe next week at Dynamite or at the Arthur Ashe show, which I'll be attending. And then we get to our main event, as it's Max Caster from the Acclaim with Anthony Bowens ringside versus Brian Pillman Jr., the hometown boy in Cincinnati. And, man, I love those little segments with Mark Henry interviewing the people. I love that. Max Caster has some, good promo stuff. Anthony Bowens just continues to impress. And Brian Pillman Jr., he did some good stuff here. And you know what? He did some good stuff here in the match. Both had some decent chemistry. Max Caster some good stuff. Bowens did the sneaky heel things. And Brian Pillman did a nice little, took Anthony Bowens out with a nice little moonsault there. Nice, taking it out. But then, looked like Max Caster was going to hit, going to get a huge victory, but nope. Brian Pillman hits the nice jumping clothesline or jumping lariat to pick up the victory, and having momentum with his next foe, MJF. So that's gonna be a pretty fun match when that happens. And then Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, they claim jumping Brian Pillman. Then Cincinnati homegrown Moxley, John Moxley comes in, takes out both, and both Brian Pillman and Moxley celebrate with the crowd. It was good stuff. Overall, this was a fun Rampage. The pacing was better, and I really can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what's the next couple Rampages here. To really showcase. I think they need to be, a couple more title matches. I would love to see the TNT Championship match, a TNT Championship match on Rampage. More of that, or make a new championship belt, because I think having championships defending here would actually make the show a little bit better, but not all the time, because you got Dynamite, you got the pay-per-views and all that stuff. I want to see that more often, more championships defended on this show, and maybe more matches like Pac and Andrade. That would be nice too. More stuff like that to make sure it's like, less, Rampage so far is like all killer, no filter, except for a couple weeks. It needs to have like more momentum of that. That's just me. That is just my personal opinion. Anyway, overall, fun episode. Highly recommend it. If you can see it again, definitely go see it again. Anyway, that is it from me, Duke CT. Peace and love. I will see y'all when I see y'all later.